Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pizza Oven and Outdoor Kitchen Build. I'm showing you now the story so far, but later in this episode we'll show you how to put the ceramic fibre blanket on, which acts as the insulation, and also then the first coat of the perlite render. These things are quite important in ensuring your dome works effectively at holding heat. Make sure you check out all the other episodes in this series, some of which are featured in these little clips now.
Outside of the dome is now finished. I put a bit of plaster on the outside of the mix I was pointed up with just to sort of seal it up. We're sorted inside the dome. Just still needs probably a tiny bit of a clean up, but it's pretty good. Next job now, and this is very important, this is ceramic blanket. This is 25mm thick. You need to put this on because otherwise what you're going to do, you're going to heat your bricks up and all the heat's just going to go out. This ceramic blanket, that's your insulation there. So I got 4 rolls of this. I should get, in total, 50mm in total of it at least. But I'll go as far as these 4 rolls go. So I'll wrap this right on the outside. Then we're going to put chicken wire over it to hold it in place. And then we'll put the perlite and cement mixture on the outside of that. So we'll keep rolling this around. It's not the easiest job to do because it just, well, wants to sit everywhere. But when you've got the chicken wire around, that'll pull it in tight. It's just a case of laying it over now. Make sure you overlap, and this is where you realise how much bigger your dome gets once all this insulation goes on. And I want to try and lap it over this as well. So I'm just going to leave that come down there. And make sure you wear a mask with this when you're cutting it. It's not going to be very good for you, so they say. So we can fill that in with a little bit after. Put this there. So make sure you're overlapping when you do it. Don't worry about, what you think it's going to look like with the render, because you'll put that many layers on, you'll easily get to it. And just don't skimp on this, because this is where it'll make the difference between holding your heat for the next day's cooking and just being able to heat enough while your fire's burning, basically. So we'll run him around the bottom here just to make sure that's got 2 layers again.
Notice how I'm doing double laps or even triple laps on the ceramic fibre insulation. This is very important to ensure your dome will hold heat effectively. If you don't get this part right, you're just going to be putting loads of fuel into it all the time because heat will escape. So if you do get this right, it'll make the oven much more efficient and much easier to cook in.
So all this ceramic insulation is on. Next job now is to hold it in place with this chicken wire, which is not a fun job. It feels like you need about 100 hands to do it, so we'll try and give it a go. I'll try and hold this in place a minute with a brick. It doesn't drop down and injure me. Let's see now. You just want to tack it in place. I'm trying to use some electrical tacks. I was trying to use standard masonry nails, but I ended up breaking the head off one. I didn't like the concrete. I suppose you could screw and plug it. That's what we'll have to do if this doesn't work. I go right over the top of this. Ooh. Way to cut this.
natural tackers. That's done what we want it to do. This held it nice and tight, so that's how it should go.
So the job now is just to tie wire around and pull it tight basically. So I've got some thin wire here and we are going to attempt to pull it nice and tight. How this is going to go I don't know, because I don't know, I'm not great at these fiddly things. So what I have to do is just thread it through these bits so I can pull it in tight, otherwise it'll just pop out. Thread it through there. Just wrap it around the nail then. It pulls it in tight, and you should still sort of shape it a bit. And we can pull off this wire again then, coming up, so with more wire. So the more you do, the easier it gets for this wire. Alright, so that's quite good. We pulled right the way around there. And that's good now because we can just pull wire off this at any point. It'll make it really easy now.
We've got the chicken wire on, which is holding this insulation down to some degree. Nightmare job. I wasn't very good at it, but it'll do what we want it to do. Next stage now is an insulating mixture. So this is perlite. You can use vermiculite as well, but perlite is a bit finer. So you've got a perlite mixture with a bit of sand, some cement and lime. I think the mixture was around, I did it something like, it's roughly 6 perlite, 1 sand, a lime and a cement. If you're on somewhere around that's fine. So we'll cover it with a thin layer, well as thick as we can get away with how much we've got. And then after that we'll build it up with sand and cement layers, and it'll be smoother and smoother on each layer. Obviously always make sure you've got a key in after it for the next layer to stick to. Basically all we're doing is slapping it on like that, not pressing down ridiculously hard as long as it's staying there. Like that, and we'll get the shape there. That's basically all we're doing. And this is just that extra layer of insulation. If you just went straight with sand and cement on this, it'd probably crack. So this will just give you an extra layer of lightweight insulation. I mean, you won't get a lot of heat coming through this when it's all done. I mean, you could go as thick as you want with the perlite. It's not going to do any harm, it's only going to benefit it, but it just depends how deep your pockets are. So we'll keep going on this, and we'll see you in a bit. Just want to show you the difference between perlite and vermiculite. So this is perlite. It's much finer than the vermiculite. It feels more crispy than vermiculite as well. So I prefer using this. It is easy to use when you're plastering it on. Has that bit of the insulation layer. And this here is vermiculite. This is out of a chimney, so it stinks a bit. See, it's got a much more goldy colour. It feels a lot softer. There's much bigger bits in it. I definitely find that perlite is easier to use. Both easily available, and they're not too bad. I mean, I think these on eBay, these perlite ones, were like 23 quid for a 100 litre bag this size, and that goes pretty far. I think vermiculite's much the same price. Right, now this is the fun part, where you might have to use your hands to get it to stay on here. The wire that's fixing. Obviously, I just showed you all the easy parts, just bouncing off. We might have to do something else there. That's where you really want it to bite into this wire. You'll probably end up with a lot on the floor, but it will bind on there. It doesn't matter if it falls on the floor, you can just pick it up and use it again anyway. It's not really playing ball because it keeps bouncing off. It will stay on there eventually, so I say. We'll find a way. When you do come to put this perlite render on, you'll probably realise that it's probably one of the worst jobs. Doing the top is very easy as it stays in place, but once you get to the sides, it's trying to fall off. You've got insulation moving, you've got the wire moving, and it's just going to fall onto your base. Just keep persevering at it, and it will stay on eventually. If you don't feel comfortable using a trowel, you can put it on with your hands. Just make sure you wear gloves. You can even try wetting the mix up a bit and just get it on there. It doesn't have to look the part, just as long as you can get that first layer on, nice and important. You can see how much I was having to pick bits up that had fallen off and put it back on, and it probably makes it look nice and easy seeing it sped up, but believe me, it's a bit of a challenge no matter how many times you've done it before.
I put this rough coat of perlite and cement mixture on the outside, very rough, doesn't look pretty. There's going to be another coat going on when I get more perlite, just got it on order. And that'll be a bit better again, and then we'll just keep going with finer coats. So there'll be a few coats on there.